Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Techgig webinar, our endeavor to empower techies. We believe that sharing of knowledge is the key to enhance our skills and grow us as professionals. With this principle in mind, we have initiated a series of webinars conducted by industry experts to give you a crisp insight of various domains. Today's topic is on developing domain-specific frameworks for writing multi-channel tests using keywords in RQM. And our guest speaker today is Ajay Chebi, software architect at IBM Rational. Ajay is a software architect in the IBM Rational CALM product development. He is responsible for text execution methods in Rational Quality Manager. He also works in SWG out of the Bangalore, India Software Labs. So without any further delay, let me introduce you all to our guest speaker. Over to you, Ajay.
Hi, thanks. Hello, good afternoon, everybody. Today we're going to discover how do you develop a domain-specific framework and modularize tests, and then transform from one channel to another without losing the business context. So a very quick overview on what Rational Quality Manager is. And this is a typical ALM suite of products. IBM has Rational CALM, and we have other vendors also. So Quality Manager becomes the central hub for managing your test results and your tests. And you author your tests using the various test authoring tools, which are called the practitioner tools. Maybe it is the Rational Test Workbench, where you can use to author mobile tests, or you can use Selenium to author web channel tests, or you could even have manual tests. So on one side you have the requirement management, on the other side is the change management, which is your defect management, your work item management, your plan management. So this kind of becomes your entire ecosystem of tools and solutions, which typically any development team would use, right? And what we are also discovering is, developers test and testers code. So the world is slowly moving towards that as well. So the differentiation is kind of merging in. So we all have to do everything together. So a quick overview of the terminology. So when I say RQM, it's a Rational Quality Manager product. RTW is a Rational Test Workbench product. So in this, we have a couple of basic concepts. The test case is an executable entity. A test suite is a collection of test cases. Right? A script is the actual steps, or the pointer to a Java file or an automation tool file. So a script is added to a test case. And the test environment is your test bed, where you're actually conducting your tests. And in RTW, you have mobile tests, right? It's an automated script-based test which you can use to test mobile applications. You can manage Selenium tests. Selenium is a pretty popular open source framework for writing web tests. You can write performance tests for multiple protocols, or you can have a compound test, which you can add all of these above together, which again to make a multi-channel test. So what's multi-channel, right? There are multiple definitions of multi-channel. The way we like to define multi-channel is how do you as a company deliver your services to your end customers, right? because the end customer is the most important link in the entire chain. And then the customer will come to you as a business, or let's say if you are a software company that is developing software for a retail brand store, the customer who is willing to buy a shirt coming to the retail brand store is the ultimate stakeholder in this whole game, right? So how does the end stakeholder come to your business, right? Let's say you are a bank and you are a user of a bank. You will either walk into a branch, you would either log into a website to leverage the services of a bank, or you would log into the mobile app of the bank. So these are the various channels, right? So once we have defined the channels, what is multi-channel? Multi-channel is the interaction between the end user and the business, and what all channels it can go through. You could either do all the transaction using your laptop, or let's say you start a transaction like adding a NEFT payee using your bank website, but it takes you 3 hours to get the activation done, right? So now you're back from your office, you're going back home, you're in the bus, and then on the mobile phone you get an SMS saying, hey, the pay is activated, this is your one-time password, please activate it in the next 15 minutes. So then you log in into your mobile phone app to activate the pay, right? So your transaction started on the web and then it terminated on the mobile app. So this is pretty much the reality of life, right? It's no longer test on the web and everything else should be working fine, or just test on the mobile. You have to do testing across these channels. And then also the way this particular bank can allow transactions on the web, it has to be the same flow on the mobile app as well, right? You cannot have the bank allow you to do one particular transaction, let's say transfer from savings to mortgage account on the web, but not allow that on the mobile app, right? So the business flow has to be the same in a particular channel and across channels. So there is a concept of keywords, right? So keywords allow you to abstract test scripts to a higher level. What they allow you to do is abstract your set of steps to one level up. So if you have, let's say, login, you may have, type username, type password, and then click enter. Instead of this, you will create one keyword, which will say login, and then associate this set of steps to that keyword. And then you will compose your test using just the keyword. So we'll see a quick demo of it going forward. So on one end of the spectrum, right, you have your on the left hand side is your subject matter expert, right? Your subject matter expert, maybe if you're developing a banking application, it's going to be a chartered accountant, right? And on the right, you have the automation engineer or the test engineer or the manual script authoring engineer. So how do you bridge the gap in between these two? How do you take a test script and give it to a subject matter expert and get his validation saying, this is what I'm going to test. Do you think this is adequate? And more often than not, the subject matter expert is a very non-technical person. He's an expert in his own domain, but not in the software domain, like the way we understand tests and test scripts. So this is how your typical testing works. So on the left-hand side, you have, let's say, 5 steps, right? So I've taken the example of TripAdvisor. So that's one of the applications that I use pretty often. So you have, go to www.tripadvisor.com, click on hotels, check the checkbox. So if you try to send this to the subject matter expert, it's very difficult for the subject matter expert to ascertain the coverage of the business flow of searching and booking a hotel. Because I've just shown 5 steps. Actually, the whole thing could be 25 to 30 steps. Now, is he going to be able to actually understand what you're giving? Is he going to be able to give you worthwhile comments? But instead, now if you look at the center, right, the same set of steps has been distilled down, have been abstracted into 3 steps, right, which are high level. They look at them as like functions, like function calls. So you have search hotel, log into user account, purchase using credit card. Now that is something that a subject matter expert can easily understand, right? A test architect or a manager can easily understand and say, oh yeah, that's the flow. But you know what? In the use case that we wanted, we think the user should log in first and then search for the hotel, right? So looking at the center one, which is a test composed out of keywords, he can make a judgment saying, is the use case satisfied or the use case is not satisfied. But it's very difficult to do it on just the test steps. Now that you have the business flow, which you have composed using just the keywords, now you may want to execute the same exact business scenario on the website as well as on the mobile. And then you may want to run a report saying, how am I doing on the new version of the mobile app? How am I doing on the new version of the new version of the website? Because your company might have rolled out a new server, and then somebody has to make way up there, right, in the food chain, has to make a call saying, are we ready to roll? Are we ready to go live with this, or we see that there are problems on the mobile channel, but the web channel seems to be working fine, for exactly the same set of scenarios. So let's take a quick look at a demo. So this, I'm using Rational Quality Manager for managing the tests. In this, you would go enable channels, and once the channels are enabled, the channels will start showing up. And then you can see that I have 2 channels that I've defined here. One is a web channel, another is a mobile channel, right? I could define it any way I want. I could say, Android devices is one channel and iOS devices is another channel. But the key point is, how have I described the channel? Here you can see that I have described the web channel as Firefox. So my any test environment in which I have a Firefox browser defined, I can execute a web channel test in there. Now similarly for mobile, I have defined that any environment where I have a Android phone defined is an environment where I can execute mobile tests. Right? So this is, I'm just walking through the setup of what all you will have to do to run a multi-channel test. So now we will look at test environments. So this is a sample test environment, which is defined as, there's a physical machine. It has an Android phone. It also has Firefox, right? So in this environment, it's in the QA team or the build and release team has set up a test environment, which is enabled for testing on the web as well as testing on the mobile phone. And this is pretty typical before a rollout, right? I'm quickly switching back to a diagram to show what I am demoing. Right. So you have the three environments. So you have a development environment which the developers are using to test, to run their unit tests and develop. On the left bottom you have the validation environment, which is your QA environment, and then on top is the production environment. And the way we have done the setup now is that the mobile channel is defined only for the QA and the development environment, because we are not ready to roll the mobile app yet in production. So we need to make sure that the web and the mobile tests are run and the results are captured for the QA environment as well as the development environment. So now let's go actually look at a keyword. So for ease of for simplicity of the demo, I have defined one keyword, and then this keyword has two scripts defined for it. Right, and now the keyword you can define as what typically would be in a use case. Right, what will you have in the use case is how you can model your keywords according to that. You can build your domain-specific framework of keywords very close to the requirement doc or the use case doc, without actually having to write a single line of script yet. Now we can see that I have two scripts that I have associated, one for the mobile channel, another for the web channel. Right, the one for the mobile channel is a RTW mobile test, and one for the web channel is a RFT browser test. That's how I have configured it now. You could configure it with any of your favorite tools that you want. Right, you can see that, like I was saying, the mobile is a rational test workbench a script. Now that I have defined the scripts that are going to execute, I go start composing the high-level script. Remember the one that we were seeing, which is what is composed using keywords, which is what the thing that is easy to read. Now here, while composing this verify hotel search script, we are not worried too much about is this a manual test, is this a mobile test, or is this a web automation test. We're just going to assemble this using keywords. Right, here you see that we have one keyword, which is search hotels. For the ease of demo, I've just added one keyword here. You can even ascertain the coverage of the keywords to say what all channels is the keyword ready to be executed on. And then once I'm ready to run, when I come in my validation phase, I can go run this test case. Right? Now while I'm running this test case, you can decide what channel do I want to run this test case on. Do I want to run it on the web channel, or do I want to run it on the mobile channel? Now, so based on what channel you pick, the right set of scripts are going to get picked up and get executed. Right? So we are taking the same test case and trying to run it on the web. Right? So when I try to run this on the web channel, what is actually happening now is my rational functional functional test is kicking in. It goes in, it fires up a browser, it goes to the exact website, right? Types in the text that I have configured, and then verifies that I actually find that hotel or not, right? So all this is being run using the RFT functional test. Now the functional test is once it is over, we can go and see the results. So you can find out that my test environment was Firefox, Windows, and Android phone, but I executed this on the web channel, right? So it means it ran on the Firefox browser, and then the result is passed. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to take the same test case, right? So that's where the real fun begins. Is I'm taking the same test case, right? This is not an entirely different set of test case. I'm taking the same test case, and this time around, I'm going to execute this on the mobile channel. So the same test case is now being run on the mobile channel. And this time around, what will happen is you will have the scripts for mobile be picked up. So this time around, it's the rational test workbench mobile scripts that is running in the background. So it goes, it fires up the emulator, right? It goes, runs the script, right? The same test, but this time around, it's a different paradigm, right? The same web test will not run. The same asset which you recorded for the web will not run on mobile. So you have to go record it. But functionally, it's doing the same thing. So now the test is over, right? In the Android simulator that I'm using here, and then now I can come back and look at the results. And in the results, I can see that a new result has been created, and right, for the same test case, I have two results created. One is for the mobile channel, another is for the web channel. So now I can actually find out how am I doing for the same business flow on the web channel as well as the mobile channel. Right? So typically while authoring a high-level test script, now let's say, for example, I'm authoring here a verified car search, right? The same website, TripAdvisor, also allows me to book cars. So I say search for car, that's my first keyword that I have added. And then I say specify rental agency, that's my second keyword that I've added. And now I'm going to add a new, instead of typing the steps, which says what is the next step, I'm going to now open up my keywords. Now this is my framework, right? Domain-specific framework that I built using keywords. Now let's say I want to search. So these are all my hotel-specific keywords that I have. Say hotel to favorite list, specify hotel parameter, search hotel. So I could compose a test case using this framework. Now what we are doing a car. We are writing a script for the car section of the website. What I want is now to add a step which says go purchase using the credit card, right? I am actually seeing a keyword here which says there's a keyword which allows me to say that, yeah, you can purchase using a credit card. I'm just going to go add that. Right. So now my script is search for car, specify rental agency, purchase using credit card. Now let's see what is in the purchase using credit card keyword, right? Let's go to the detail of this keyword. Now this keyword has a test script, the purchase using credit card, which is currently assigned to the web, and it's of type manual, right? A couple of minutes ago we saw a demo of how we could run automation scripts, right? But we know that there are a lot of people still using manual scripts. So this is a manual script, right? I can still derive the benefits of using a domain-specific framework and the ease of reading, the readability of tests. Doesn't matter what kind of a test I'm doing. So now let's look at the details of the script that is associated, right? Now you see the script is, I have 4 steps here in the script. I'm not too much worried at that level when I'm composing the high-level test case on the details of the script. For all you know, I may not even have anything written yet, right? So authoring of the test steps themselves can be deferred to a later stage, but you can still start composing a top-level business flow by looking at your requirement documents or your use case documents. Typically you would need to write this level of details. You would need almost the product ready to know where which button is and how many fields are there. So, but you need not stop writing the test cases for mapping to the use cases right up to the end. And this is a typical problem we see that happens, right? Is that the test authoring kind of starts lagging behind the development, and in the agile and continuous delivery models, there is no time for literally anything. You have to be on the go all the time. You put a little change and then you have to roll it out to production. The time between the change and production is very less. So I don't have to worry about the details. I can start putting the details in as the app becomes available, but I can still go ahead and build a top level business, a top level script which kind of closely approximates my use cases. So how does all this thing fit in together, right? The way this whole thing fits together is let's start working from the right bottom, right? The light blue colored box is your actual test asset, right? Let's say if you're doing automation, you will have an RTW test. If you're not doing automation, that portion, the light blue portion, will not be there, right? Because you will not have any asset that you want to execute. There is no Java class that you want to execute. That points to a test script, and then the test script belongs is associated to a keyword, right? And then it is added to a manual script, right? Don't get too confused with the manual script acronym, right? Because the top level script is always a manually composed script, because at that point we really don't care about if it's an automation script or a manual script. The high level business flow script is a manually composed script. And for all you know, for the people who are in a position to influence how teams work with each other, you could have the subject matter expert come and create the domain-specific framework using keywords. He can create empty keywords and start putting together using just drag and drop, like we saw, high-level test cases, right? So the SME would be happy to participate in the QA process, versus earlier he would not know the tools we use and then the technologies we use. Now for him it's just a matter of drag and drop and create a flow which he can understand in English, and then say, yep, this is exactly what I want. And then you could maybe take a PDF printout out of it and email it to your end client and say, sir, this is what we are testing, please approve. Because in user acceptance testing, usually that is the problem you face is, what is the authoritative document which everybody can agree on? It cannot be a Java file, right? It cannot be a use case too. Because at the end of the day, somebody has to show the traceability on this Java file is actually testing that use case. And what is the flow you are taking to test that use case. Right? So that's pretty much what I wanted to take you guys through. We can look quickly also at the two technologies that we just saw. The two technologies are the mobile testing capability and the web testing capability. This is the mobile testing capability. This is the mobile script, which can run on an Android, either a physical device, or it can run on a physical device, or it can run on an emulator. Right? You see, click edit test, enter Bangalore Taj, click on hyperlink. Now, this is a Java file which would run on the web, right? So the actual test asset that's running on the web browser and then the one running on the mobile app are completely different. But we were able to tie it all together all the way up there and make some sense out of it. So that's pretty much what I wanted to walk you guys through. Moderator, I think we can take questions now.
Thank you so much, Ajay, for the presentation. Attendees request you all to start sending in questions for Ajay. And Ajay, I have already shared a couple of questions to you. You can start off answering them.
Sure, thank you very much. Moderator, I cannot see the questions in the chat window.
Ajay, if you look at the questions box on your control panel.
Oh, sorry about that.
Not a problem.
All right, the first question is which version of RQM this is supported in? This is supported in 4.03 version of RQM, which is the multi-channel support, but the keyword support has been there since RQM 1.0. The next question is, each channel has does each channel have a specific script defined, meaning I have to write two scripts when I have two channels? The answer to that question depends on what are the technologies you are using to test the actual channel. If typically cross portability across channels, especially when the channel is as varied as a web browser and a mobile app, is very low. There are various things out there in research phases where people are looking to convert scripts, if that's what you're looking to see if can I just port my scripts that are written for the web those technologies are a little hard to come by. And so the short answer to that would be yes. Most of the cases, 80% of the cases, you're actually looking to use the same script, unless you have a script for let's say Firefox on a Windows PC, and you want to run that on an iPad running Firefox. That could run there.
Ajay, this is a small request. If you could also mention the sender's name, whosoever is asking the question, followed by the answer,
yes.
please. Yeah.
Yes. So the first two questions are asked by Shashank B. Prashant Naik wants to know, is this restricted to web-based applications only? No, it's not restricted to web-based applications only, Prashant. For example, using RFT, you could record an automation script even for Power Builder or even a green screen. So it purely depends on what the practitioner tool you're using for authoring the script. But the high-level multi-channel functionality, you can always use irrespective of the underlying technology. So I could create a new channel. Let's assume you have a Windows Win32 application built using Power Builder. I could create a new channel saying Windows Desktop, right? And put all the scripts that are specific to the Win32 application, the thick client, which was built using Power Builder.
Ajay, I believe Shashank. I'm sorry to interrupt. Yes. I believe Shashank B again has a follow-up question. So since you took up his first question, if you could just follow up. I think he wanted to make some changes.
Oh, okay. It's at the down of the list. Okay. So Shashank has a follow-on. The question is something different. For mobile, I use Selenium, and for web, I use QTP. Okay. So Shashank has a follow-on question. It's like, for mobile, I'm using Selenium, and for web, I use QTP. How do I handle this situation, right? So Shashank, right? I'm assuming your mobile app and your web app are trying to serve the same business functionality to the end user. Now, if you have used QTP to record web functionality of, let's just take the TripAdvisor, right? Of searching a hotel on TripAdvisor using QTP on the browser, and then you would be using for mobile, you're using Selenium. So you now are talking about two different scripts, right? One is a Selenium script, another is a QTP script. Now you can take those two scripts, create an RQM script pointing to those two, right? And then attach that to the same keyword, which says search hotel. And then when you pick at runtime the web channel, the QTP script will get executed. But if you select the mobile channel, the Selenium script will get executed. Shashank has a follow-on question. How does the keyword feature different from business process testing in Quality Center? I have not seen Quality Center. I'm in the RQM product development, so I've not seen. I'm not a practitioner myself, so I will have to defer that answer to a web search or something, so because I don't know much about Quality Center at all. Let's, I guess, go back up. So we answered Prashant Naik's question. Ambika wants to know how well traceability can be done using this. So traceability in terms of which channel was this executed, you can see that in the results, right? In the results, you can filter by channels, or you can run a report saying, give me all the tests, the passing and failure of the test for the web channel or for the mobile channel. Or I can say, for this particular test case, give me all the results segregated or grouped by the channels. So for the same test case, Now I can tell that there were 20% failure on the web channel, and then there is 10% failure on the mobile channel. And then of course traceability to requirements and traceability to defects and work items is done at the CLM level, right? So I can take the test case and associate the test case to a requirement in a requirement management product, and I can associate that to a plan item in a planning product, right? So this traceability linking happens using OSLC. So if you're using an all IBM stack, you can use RTC, RRC, and RQM. But then you could be using Jira for RM. You could be using Bugzilla for quality management, for bug tracking, or you could be using HPQC for bug tracking. So you could do that level of traceability. Then you can go and say, for the web channel, tell me what all are the defects that have been identified for this test case. That's the typical traceability that is expected. That's the traceability that people want to ask, so that they can make a decision whether we ship this or not ship this. If it's a non-critical feature with a little bit of a higher defect rate, somebody may make a call saying, it's okay, let's ship it. So I hope that answers your question, Ambika. Prashant Naik wants to know, how can I use this on embedded systems? Now, embedded systems, for example, typically have different tools, different toolings to write automation scripts. If you're doing manual testing on an embedded piece of hardware-software combination, it becomes a manual script. I can associate a manual script to this embedded channel. Let's say you're testing, I don't know, a DVR box, right? I assume that's what you mean by an embedded system. So there's a piece of software running very native to the hardware, and at the end of the day, you're just clicking channels and recording. So maybe that's a manual test to see if the channels are clicking fine or no. That you author it as a manual script, but associate it to your channel, which is, again, we're talking TV, so channel, the word becomes confusing. So you can take a manual script, write it to see if you can increase or reduce the sound, right? And then say, I'm testing this on this version of the DVR box, right? Or maybe one version is a DVR, one is not a non-DVR box, right? It's just as your DTH box. So I can say test the volume control on the DTH channel and test the volume control on the DVR channel. But if it's an automation script, RQM can provide hooks. RQM can provide hooks for writing adapters to those automation scripts that can be invoked on embedded systems. Sushma Nagendra wants to know which tools are compatible for automation testing. There are multiple tools for writing automation tests, right from open source tools like Selenium is a very popular one, to commercial tools like you have RFT, RTW from IBM, QTP, LoadRunner from HP. So it all depends upon what your requirement is and what is your organization's strategic direction. But if you're starting something on open source, you could look at Selenium. If you're looking at mobile testing, there is I think it's called Allium, and then there is the other open source tool for writing mobile tests as well. Shashank has another question which says, we did not get where to link the script and the test case. How does RQM know about which script to run, mobile or web? Okay, I can quickly show that to you. I hope moderator can confirm they can still see my screen.
Yes, they can.
Okay, so we want to know where is the link, where to link the script and the test case. Okay, so let's try to answer that first. So this is my test case, right? Let's say car search test case. So this is my list of test cases. Let's go at the car search test case. So this is the details of my test case. In the test case, there is a section here called test scripts, right? In test scripts, I've associated a script called verify car search. Now this is my high-level script, the manual script. Now I hope that answers the first part of your question. Where do you associate a script to a test case? This is not the channel-specific script. Now, if I go into the details of this script, right, I see that this script is composed using keywords. Now, if I look at, there is an option here which says called keyword coverage. You will see that well, I did not save it, so the third one didn't appear. All right, there we go. You see that on the left you have the 3 keywords, and then it tells you what does it have scripts for the channels or not. Right now, if we go to the keyword and then go to the test scripts associated with the keyword, this is where you would associate. So this is the second part of your question, which is how does RQM know which script to pick when I say web channel or mobile channel? So this script, car search, is assigned to the web channel. Now I can add one more script here. Right, let's try to add one more script. And then I will try to associate that to the mobile channel. Right, on the top left, you will see that I can pick the mobile channel, and then I can say I want to associate the car search script, which is the channel specific script, for the mobile channel. Right? In this case, what I did was I took the same script and associated to both the channels, but I could have picked up another script. So when I am now running the test case, it'll pick up one script versus other. Okay, let's not confuse too much, right? Let's change this. For mobile channel, let's pick some other script. Let's say I'll call it car booking. Right? So when the test case is run on mobile channel, the car booking script will get invoked. But if at the test case, at the time of running the test case, I pick web channel, the car search script will get picked. Now this is the channel specific script. I hope that answered your question. Let's see some more questions. We answered the embedded system questions, and then we answered Sushma's question for tooling. Shashank, I hope I answered both your questions. Abhijit Patil wants to know how the test maintenance and re-verification of failed test case happens in this scenario. Can SME be able to do so, or will QA need to look into it? Now this becomes a question that is specific to test result management. right? Uh, this falls a little bit out of the scope of this particular webinar, but I can try to answer this. You can always go run a report on the dashboard. I don't have the report configured with me right now, which will say show me the failures show me the failures for this particular iteration that I have run. And then you get a list of all the test cases that failed. A SME can look into it. Typically, for example, in my organization, the product manager, right, who is our SME, looks into those reports. They're all available on the dashboard, right? Let's try to go to the dashboard and see what we have. I had not configured anything, but you'll see that on the dashboards I can see test plan execution status. That will tell me what is the progress, how much is the passing, how much is the failure. Or I can say teaser listing, which is test case execution record listing. What are all the test case execution records assigned to me? So you could put a whole bunch of let's quickly look at some of the widgets, for example, right? So there are, if you see, close to about 60 widgets for quality management. We'll not go into the details of these, but you can pretty much see there is a whole bunch of reports that you can put on the dashboard that will help you present that information in a pie chart or a bar chart that your SME will be able to drill down into and make sense out of it. Right? For example, on the left you have execution status by milestone using count, and these are, so some of them are live reports, some of them are data warehouse reports. We have a couple of questions pouring in. Durga Prasad Kaja wants to know, how much does the license cost for an enterprise user? I honestly don't know the answer to that. We'll have to have some sales guy answer that question, but I'm a technologist, I'm a software architect. So I guess if you're really interested in this tool, you can reach out to IBM and get the questions, the money questions answered. Jay Raval wants to know, can VA use this RTW for preparing business functional flow for SMEs, right? So Jay, a business analyst will typically not use RTW, right? So if we see here, now this is how your RTW test will look like. Right. So this is very hard for a business analyst typically to write. So this is our RFT. This is a RFT functional test script. If I look at a mobile test, it's a little more human readable, right? It uses a technology called ClearScript. It's got a grammar which looks very much like English. I guess a business analyst, with a little bit of training, can start. But at the end of the day, in RTW is a practitioner tool, as we call it, is where you will author the actual script that executes. And the BA probably will not be able to write a business function flow for it. But a business function flow is more easily written at a higher level, right? Let's, for example, the verify car search that we were looking at. So this is something that, right, a business analyst can easily do. A business analyst will be very happy to put together a flow that looks something like this using drag and drop from keywords. But he'll be a little hesitant to write Go Java code. So I would say A high-level business flow should be written in RQM as a manual script using keywords, and then go automate those keywords. Have your automation engineers automate those keywords. So when you run the script, the verify car search script, as in by adding in a test case and running the script, you will be able to run those automation scripts, but you'll still have a flow that the BA has put together. Let's try to take a couple more questions. Suresh Tamera wants to know, will this handle database projects like MDM? You could write database verification scripts using let's say RIT. So there is a tool called or it was known as Green Hat before, integration tester. You can go and write a protocol level test to go fire some SQL queries and come back and give you the answers. And you can all wire that up at a very high level. Right? The search for car can actually be an entry in a database. So you can do that. Where you actually test the tool selection is very important there. If you're testing on a database, you will not select a tool that will that you typically would use for web scripting. Manas Kumar wants to know, can we run RPT scripts from RQM? Yes, Manas, absolutely. You can run RPT scripts from RQM. You can just go create a new script. Right? Let's for example, let's say I'll create a new script, and then when I'm creating a new script, in the type, if you see these are the out of the box types, I can select a RPT, Rational Performance Tester, and this will then let me point to the RPT file. Arun Kumar wants to know, does the script need any modifications for cross-browser testing? Example, Chrome on web and Safari on mobile. That's a tricky question. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. That's been my experience. Again, it depends upon what is the actual end technology you're using to author the browser scripts. But most of the times it'll find it. If you use the Selenium 2.0 WebDriver API-based scripting tools, then they will find the DOM correctly across both the browsers. So I believe RFT does that. You can run it on either, the same script can be run on Chrome as well as Firefox as well as IE. But then again, there is a slight variation in the versions, exact version, dot level version supported, that you'll have to look up the support matrix. Ambika Vinod Babu wants to ask, can we have database as channel and execute a manual script in SQL? Just like the other gentleman before had asked, yes, absolutely, you can. You can create a channel called database, and then on that channel you can create a script which will say, when you say manual script in SQL, I'm assuming you want to write a manual script and say, please execute this SQL. You can absolutely do that. Right? So for example, if I say manual, and then I can put a step here which says execute, right? I can always create a manual script, and then you can say you should right? You can say I should always get the 45 employee records, whatever. So you can always write a manual script like this to go against a database. I hope that's what you meant by a manual script in SQL. And then you can take this script, associate to a keyword which says verify employee table, and associate it against a database channel. You can go create a channel and name it anything you want. You can create a channel called database. Absolutely. Durga Prasad Kaja again wants to know where can we associate the actual Java code in keywords. The actual Java code is associated to keywords using a script. So if it's the JavaScript that we just now saw was an RFT script, so I would say rational functional tester script, right? And this is where I would specify the actual path to the Java file. I believe I have a. Let me quickly see if I have a. Yep, I have a RFT. Well, this is an RTW script, but essentially it's the same thing. This is where you would tell which is the file to execute. I hope that answered that question. I think we have almost run out of time. Last 3 questions. Prashant Naik. Oh, yeah, Prashant Naik. We were talking about embedded, right? So he wants to say for example, I need to boot a non-DVR box. This falls under the manual test normally. There's a way I can automate this case. Is there a way I can automate this case? Well, when I boot, I mean remote power button only in this case. So here's the thing, right? If there is a automation harness available that can run on your DVR box, then you can do it. But typically a hard boot on a DVR box would be a manual step. So what you can actually do is compose the high-level test, right? Like we had here. Verify car search, right? And then step number 2, let's say where we say specify rental agency. Instead of that, imagine it says hard boot the DVR box. And this could be a manual step, right? Because you really want to physically, hold the button and hard boot the box. So the first step will be an automation script. Once the script is run, it will show the user that please push the red button on the DVR box. And then the user will have to come and say, yep. So you can interweave, right? You can multi-channel. You can interweave the test, part of it manual, part of it automation, all in one script. That absolutely is possible. I guess we have a last question from Syed Ibrahim. Does it need any special plugins to write automated test cases? Please name some plugins. Automated test cases, usually it's not plugins. You would write automation test cases in automation test tools, and you have RTW, you have QTP, you have Selenium, right? There are various test tools that are available, but to be able to drive them all through RQM, you need an adapter, if that's what you mean by a plugin. So out of the box, there are several adapters which are listed here, right? You have directly a JUnit Selenium adapter. You have a AppScan, RFT, Rational Robot Service Tester. There are quite a few other adapters. There's a QTP adapter available. Plus, you can also go write your own adapter if you have a homegrown tool. Like the other gentleman was asking, automation for a hardware box, like an embedded software box. If there is a tool available to write scripts for a DVR box, you can write an adapter to invoke the tests from RQM. For example, we have a adapter to run against a National Instruments hardware verification box, which is used in the automotive industry to test embedded systems in the automotive in an automobile. We have a adapter for National Instruments. So you can definitely do those things. I guess that was the last question, moderator.
Yes. In case there are more questions, probably we can request the attendees to send you the questions offline. Thank you so much, Ajay, for the presentation and the demo. I'm sure it was a great help for all the attendees. And I would like to thank I would like to thank all the attendees for participating. The video, the recording of today's webinar will be available tomorrow on techgig.com. So request you all to log in and see the video there in case if you have missed any part of the session today. So thank you once again, Ajay. It was lovely having you here on board today. Wish to have more such sessions in near future. Thank you.
Thank you very much to you as well and all the attendees for putting their Friday evening precious time and listening to this talk. Thank you.